If you're listening to this while working, driving, or just trying to figure out why your resolutions and plans never stick, you're about to learn something that could genuinely change your life. We're breaking down Atomic Habits by James Clear, one of the most practical books ever written about behavior change. But first, we need to get one thing out of the way. Habits are not about willpower or motivation, because those simply run out. Habits are about systems, small changes, and understanding how your brain actually works. James Clear spent years researching this, and what he discovered is both simple and powerful. The core idea is right there in the title, atomic. These are tiny changes, almost invisible in the moment, that compound into remarkable results over time. Improve by just 1% every day, and by the end of a year, you'll be 37 times better. Get 1% worse each day, and you'll decline nearly to zero. That's the power of compounding. In the next few minutes, you're going to learn the 4 laws of behavior change. We are going to limit the theoretical part of this and make it rather practical and actionable that you can implement today. Whether you want to build good habits like exercising or reading, or break bad habits like mindless scrolling or overeating, these 4 laws apply to all of it. By the end, you'll understand exactly why you do what you do, and more importantly, how to change it. Let's get into it. Law 1. Make it obvious. The first law of behavior change is make it obvious. This is all about awareness and environment design. What most people don't realize is that the vast majority of your behavior is automatic. You're not consciously deciding to check your phone 100 times a day. You're not deliberately choosing to eat that afternoon snack. Your brain is running on autopilot, responding to cues in your environment. James Clear explains this through the habit loop: cue, craving, response, reward. Every habit starts with a cue, a trigger that tells your brain to initiate a behavior. The problem is, most of us don't even notice these cues. They're invisible. So the first step to changing your habits is making these cues visible. Implementation intentions. Clear introduces a strategy called implementation intentions. Instead of saying, "I'm going to exercise more," you say, "I will exercise for 30 minutes at 6 a.m. in my living room." Be specific. When will you do it? Where will you do it? What exactly will you do? The formula is simple. I will do this behavior at this time in this place. This works because it creates a clear cue. When 6 a.m. arrives and you're in your living room, your brain knows exactly what to do. No decisions required, no willpower needed. The cue is obvious. Habit stacking. The second strategy is habit stacking. This is where you link a new habit to an existing habit. The formula is, after I do this current habit, I will do this new habit. For example, after I pour my morning coffee, I will meditate for 2 minutes. Your existing habit of pouring coffee becomes the cue for meditation. You're not creating a new cue from scratch. You're using a cue that already exists in your daily routine. This is brilliant because you already have dozens of habits: getting out of bed, brushing your teeth, starting your car. Each one can become a cue for a new habit you want to build. Environment design. Now here's where it gets really powerful. Environment design. Clear argues that your environment is the invisible hand that shapes your behavior. If you want to practice guitar more often, don't hide the guitar in a closet. Put it in the middle of your living room. Make the cue obvious. Want to drink more water? Put water bottles everywhere. Your desk, your car, your nightstand. Want to eat healthier? Put fruit on the counter where you can see it. Hide the junk food in the back of the pantry or don't buy it at all. The inverse is equally important. If you want to break a bad habit, make the cue invisible. If you waste too much time on your phone, put it in another room when you're trying to work. If you eat too many cookies, don't keep them in the house. Your environment shapes your behavior more than your intentions do. You might have incredible willpower, but if your environment is working against you, you're fighting an uphill battle. Design your environment so the good habits are obvious and the bad habits are invisible. The power of context. Clear also talks about context. We often think our habits are tied to us as individuals, but they're actually tied to contexts. You might be productive at the office but lazy at home. That's not because you're a different person, it's because the context is different. The office has cues for work, home has cues for relaxation. So if you want to build a new habit, create a new context. Don't try to meditate in the same spot where you watch TV. Don't try to write in the same place where you play video games. New habits need new contexts, or at least clearly defined contexts within existing spaces. To summarize, Law 1, make your good habits obvious through implementation intentions, habit stacking, and environment design. Make your bad habits invisible by removing cues from your environment. Control the context, and you control the behavior. Law 2, make it attractive. The second law is make it attractive. This is all about creating a craving, making the habit so appealing that you actually want to do it. Clear explains that every behavior is driven by a craving. You don't actually want to smoke a cigarette, you want the feeling of relief it provides. You don't want to check your phone. You want to know who texted you or what's happening in the world. The craving is what drives the action. So if you can make a good habit attractive, you'll be more likely to do it. And if you can make a bad habit unattractive, you'll be more likely to avoid it. Temptation bundling. The first strategy is temptation bundling. This is where you pair something you need to do with something you want to do. The formula is after I do the habit I need, I will execute the habit I want. For example, maybe you need to exercise, but you want to watch your favorite show. Bundle them. Only allow yourself to watch that show while you're on the treadmill. Suddenly, exercise becomes more attractive because it's paired with something you enjoy. Or maybe you need to review your finances, but you love a particular coffee shop. Make it a rule you only go to that coffee shop when you're reviewing your budget. The coffee shop becomes a reward, making the financial review more attractive. This works because you're leveraging what behavioral scientists call dopamine. Your brain releases dopamine not just when you experience pleasure, but when you anticipate pleasure. By bundling the habit you need with something you want, you make the entire experience attractive. Reframe your mindset. Clear also talks about reframing your mindset. The way you think about a habit determines how attractive it is. If you tell yourself, I have to go to the gym, it feels like a burden. But if you tell yourself, I get to build a stronger body, it becomes a privilege. This isn't just positive thinking nonsense. It's about highlighting the benefits rather than focusing on the obstacles. Don't think, I have to wake up early. Think, I get to have quiet time before the chaos starts. Don't think, I have to save money. Think, I get to build financial security. Words matter. The language you use to describe your habits changes how attractive they feel. Join a culture where your desired behavior is normal. Here's a powerful one. Surround yourself with people who have the habits you want. Clear explains that we imitate the habits of 3 groups: the close, the many, and the powerful. The close, your friends and family. If everyone around you exercises regularly, you're more likely to exercise. If everyone around you reads, you're more likely to read. We naturally adopt the habits of the people we spend time with. The tribe, the many. Humans have a deep need to belong. We don't want to stand out or be excluded, so we adopt the behaviors of our culture or community. If you want to build a habit, join a group where that habit is normal. Want to run? Join a running club. Want to write? Join a writing group. When the habit is normal in your tribe, it becomes attractive to you. The powerful, people with status and prestige. We imitate people we admire. This is why celebrity endorsements work. If someone you respect does something, you're more likely to want to do it. Find role models who have the habits you want to build, and let their example make those habits more attractive to you. Create a motivation ritual. Clear introduces the idea of a motivation ritual. This is something you do right before a difficult habit to put yourself in the right mindset. Athletes use this all the time. They have routines before competition that gets them pumped up and focused. You can do the same. Maybe before you sit down to work on a challenging project, you listen to a specific song that gets you energized. Maybe before you exercise, you put on your workout clothes and do 3 deep breaths. Whatever it is, you're creating a ritual that signals to your brain it's time to do this thing. Over time, the ritual itself becomes the cue, and it makes the habit more attractive because your brain associates it with the positive feelings the ritual creates. Making bad habits unattractive. The inverse also works. Make bad habits unattractive by highlighting their costs. If you want to stop eating junk food, focus on how terrible you feel after eating it. The sluggishness, the guilt, the health consequences, make those costs visible and prominent in your mind. If you want to stop wasting time on social media, track how many hours you're actually spending there and calculate what else you could have done with that time. Make the opportunity cost obvious and unattractive. To summarize, Law 2, make your good habits attractive through temptation bundling, reframing your mindset, joining supportive cultures, and creating motivation rituals. Make your bad habits unattractive by highlighting their negative consequences. Law 3, make it easy. The third law is make it easy. This is where most people struggle because they focus on motion instead of action. Clear makes a crucial distinction here. Motion is planning, strategizing, and learning. Action is actually doing the thing that produces a result. You can spend hours researching the best workout program, but
you can read 10 books about writing, but until you write, you're just in motion. We love motion because it feels like progress without the risk of failure. But habits are built through action, not motion. So the key is to make action as easy as possible. The 2-minute rule. Clear's most famous strategy is the 2-minute rule. When you start a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to do. Not run a marathon, just put on my running shoes. Not write a novel, just write one sentence. Not study for 3 hours, just open my textbook. This seems almost silly, right? What's the point of just putting on running shoes? What often seems overlooked here is the brilliance. The hardest part of any habit is starting. Once you've put on your running shoes, you'll probably go for a walk. Once you've opened your textbook, you'll probably read a few pages. The 2-minute version gets you through the starting gate. The goal is to make your habits so easy that you can't say no. You can negotiate with yourself about running 3 miles. You can't really negotiate about putting on your shoes. That's too easy to refuse. Once the habit is established, once it's automatic to put on your shoes, then you can optimize and expand. But first, you have to make it easy to start. Reduce friction. Clear talks extensively about friction. Every habit has friction, obstacles that make it harder to do. Your job is to reduce friction for good habits and increase friction for bad habits. Want to exercise in the morning? Lay out your workout clothes the night before. Want to eat healthier? Prep your meals on Sunday so healthy food is ready to grab. Want to practice guitar? Keep the guitar out of its case and in plain sight. Every bit of friction you remove makes the habit easier, and easier habits get done more consistently. For bad habits, increase the friction. Want to stop watching too much TV? Unplug it after each use and put the remote in another room. Want to stop eating junk food? Don't keep it in the house. Make yourself drive to the store if you want it. That added friction makes the bad habit less likely to happen. Clear shares a story about unplugging his TV and only plugging it back in when he wanted to watch something specific. That tiny bit of friction reduced his TV time dramatically because most of his viewing was mindless, not intentional. Use commitment devices. A commitment device is a choice you make in the present that locks in better behavior in the future. It's a way of making bad habits harder and good habits easier by removing future choices. For example, if you struggle with overspending, leave your credit cards at home when you go out. If you waste too much time on social media, use an app that limits your access during work hours. If you want to save automatically, set up an automatic transfer from checking to savings every payday. Victor Hugo had a famous commitment device. When he was struggling to finish a book, he had his assistant lock away all his clothes so he couldn't leave the house. Sounds extreme, but it worked. He finished the book. You probably don't need to lock away your clothes, but the principle applies. Make it hard to do the wrong thing and easy to do the right thing. Automate your habits. The ultimate form of making it easy is automation. Technology can do this for you. Want to save more? Automate your savings. Want to take your vitamins? Use a pill organizer that makes it obvious which ones to take each day. Want to limit screen time? Use apps that automatically block distracting websites during work hours. The best habits are the ones that don't require you to think about them at all. They just happen automatically because you've set up systems that make them inevitable. The Goldilocks rule. Clear also introduces the Goldilocks rule. Habits are most satisfying when they're at the edge of your current abilities. Not too hard, not too easy. Just right. If a habit is too easy, you get bored. If it's too hard, you get discouraged. You want that sweet spot where you're challenged but capable. This keeps you engaged and motivated. As you get better, increase the difficulty slightly. Always stay at the edge of your abilities, where growth happens. To summarize Law 3, make your good habits easy through the 2-minute rule, reducing friction, using commitment devices, and automation. Make your bad habits hard by increasing friction and removing the option to do them impulsively. Law 4, make it satisfying. The fourth and final law is make it satisfying. This is about immediate rewards and positive reinforcement. The problem with most good habits is that the costs are immediate, but the rewards are delayed. When you exercise, you feel tired right now, but you won't see results for weeks. When you save money, you sacrifice pleasure today for security in the future. When you eat healthy, you miss out on the taste of junk food now for health benefits you won't see for years. Our brains are wired for immediate gratification. We evolved in an environment where immediate rewards meant survival, so we need to find ways to make good habits immediately satisfying. Immediate reinforcement. The simplest way is to add an immediate reward to your habit. Clear shares an example of someone who wanted to save money. Every time they resisted an impulse purchase, they transferred that amount to a savings account labeled vacation fund. The act of saving became immediately satisfying because they could see the vacation fund growing. Find ways to make the habit feel good right away. After you exercise, take a relaxing shower you enjoy. After you finish a work session, have a nice cup of coffee. After you practice an instrument, play one song you love. The immediate reward reinforces the behavior. Habit tracking. One of the most effective tools Clear discusses is habit tracking. This is simply marking off each day you complete your habit. It could be a calendar where you put an X, an app where you check a box, or a simple notebook where you write "done." Habit tracking is satisfying for 3 reasons. First, it provides immediate visual proof that you did the thing. That's inherently rewarding. Second, it creates a streak you don't want to break. Once you have 5 days in a row, you really don't want to break that streak. Third, it focuses your attention on the process, not the outcome. You're not obsessing about losing 30 pounds. You're focused on not breaking your workout streak. Clear himself tracks multiple habits every day. He finds it motivating to see the progress visually, and if he misses a day, the tracking makes it obvious so he can get back on track quickly. Never miss twice. This leads to an important rule. Never miss twice. Everyone misses a habit occasionally. Life happens. You get sick, you travel, unexpected things come up. That's fine. Missing once is an accident. Missing twice is the start of a new bad habit. If you miss your workout Monday, make absolutely sure you don't miss Tuesday. If you skip your writing session one day, do it the next day no matter what. The comeback is more important than the setback. Make it unsatisfying. For bad habits, do the opposite. Make them unsatisfying. Create an immediate cost. Clear talks about habit contracts, where you publicly commit to a habit and specify a punishment if you fail. For example, you might tell a friend, "If I don't go to the gym 3 times this week, I'll give you $50. Now there's an immediate cost to failing. This works because we hate losing more than we love winning. The fear of losing $50 is often more motivating than the benefit of getting fit. You can also use accountability partners. Share your goals with someone who will check in on you. Knowing someone is watching makes the habit more likely to stick, because breaking it becomes immediately unsatisfying. You have to admit failure to someone else. To summarize Law 4, make your good habits satisfying through immediate rewards, habit tracking, and accountability. Make your bad habits unsatisfying by creating immediate costs and public accountability. recap, and next steps. Let's bring everything together. Let's pull everything together in a way that feels like a simple conversation. You start by making the habit obvious. You set clear cues. You link a new action to something already in your routine. You shape your surroundings so a helpful habit stands out and a harmful one fades out. Next, you make the habit appealing. You pair the action with something you enjoy. You shift your mindset so the habit feels rewarding. You spend time around people who live the pattern you want. You build small rituals that draw you in. Then, you make the habit easy. You shrink the starting point to 2 minutes or less. You remove obstacles. You use tools that lock your future self into a smarter choice. You automate helpful actions and introduce friction around harmful patterns. Finally, you make it satisfying. You give yourself a quick win at the end of the action. You track progress. You bring in accountability so the behavior feels rewarding in real time. You add immediate costs around harmful choices to push you away from them. Everything becomes smoother when each layer supports the next. These aren't just interesting ideas, they're practical tools you can use today. Pick one habit you want to build or break. Apply these 4 laws to it. Make it obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying. Remember, you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. Goals are about the results you want. Systems are about the processes that lead to those results. Focus on building better systems, and the results will follow. Small changes might seem insignificant in the moment, but they compound over time. 1% better every day for a year makes you 37 times better by the end. That's the power of atomic habits. If you want to go deeper, I highly recommend reading the full book. Clear provides dozens more examples and strategies. But even just applying what we covered today can genuinely transform your life. Check the description for additional resources on building habits and achieving your goals. And if you found this valuable, subscribe for more book summaries and frameworks you can listen to while living your life. Thanks for listening. Now go build those atomic habits.